What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of the StrongSide stream. We're going to be talking just straight fantasy football with you guys. If you are in our Discord and are a RotoRadar NFL member, this is probably the third show that you're listening to today, and it's only not even 1 o'clock yet. So, Josh, what's going on, my dude? This is our third show today, and the third of five for you, sir.
Yeah, it's Fridays are just going to be long days, I think, at the end of the day, but that's okay. It's all right. I had a lot of fun on our NFL DFS show. I was telling Jared after we got off that it was probably our best members only podcast that we've recorded for NFL in the
Ever.
past ever. Yeah, like ever, like with you on the team as the cash game pro, ever. That was
Yeah.
an amazing podcast. That was a lot of fun. John Ramey already making fun of my hat. Look, man, I was low on hat selection today. All right, this was a last resort here to the Vols hat, but it's all right. We're gonna keep going through. We're gonna keep trucking through. I'm a local now, like Kai said. I'm a local. I got to do it. Regardless, though, please go listen to the podcast. Go sign up for week one. I just don't know how else to tell you. If you aren't signed up for the NFL product, you definitely should be. Even if it's just to listen to that podcast and make your own GPP lineups, I think we did a phenomenal job at describing the whole entire slate, where we think we are going to go, where we think you should go in GPPs. And yeah, it's been a really fun day. I really like the morning after show. That's probably my favorite show out of every show I do is the morning after show. But we were just talking about it. This specific day of the strong side is always going to be my favorite day of the strong side because we're just talking NFL or we're just talking season long fantasy, and it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, like I said, I think we said this right as we were going live actually during the intro. This could be our favorite show of the week, and I think it's going to be your guys' favorite show of the week too, because this is where you guys get to answer, or you guys get to ask us literally any question from any of your leagues, whether it's for work league, whether it's a friend league, whether it's a family league, all of the above. Maybe it's ESPN, Yahoo, Sleeper, that what we'll talk about here in a little bit. You guys have free reign to answer or ask us any questions, and we will answer literally every single one of them. I'm sure there'll be heated discussions, heated topics. Our plan also, starting next week, is to bring guests on in the RotoRadar Dynasty League that we have going on this season, and I can't wait to bring on that special guest starting next week. Maybe we'll get Sean on here sometimes if he gets to wake up and have a stream ready by 12:30. But here we go. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about last night and how that affected everybody's season-long leagues. For me personally, I was actually really, really high on a lot of these plays. Mainly mainly the wide receivers. Let's just start there. As that, we know if you guys have followed me for the past couple months or watched any of our drafts, you know that I just don't draft running backs. So those guys don't even count. They don't even matter. So all the wide receivers here. Chris Godwin had a game last night with a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had a game last night with a touchdown. Amari Cooper had a smash game with 2 touchdowns. He's back. He's the top 5 receiver in the league this year. And then on the other side, Mike Evans, the only real bust last night. I don't really want to count the injury to Gallup. I think that's kind of, you don't want to circle that and talk about that. But he was doing great until he got hurt. So Mike Evans, Josh, the only real big bust. And for some reason, if you were to have started Rob Gronkowski, you got rewarded, which again, I won't even discuss how terrible of a play that was.
Yeah, the Gronk lovers definitely got rewarded, and I think we have someone. I wonder if anyone in our high stakes league ended up starting him. I'm gonna go check right now to see if the person who drafted him did start him. But it was a great night one for me, man. Like I had a great time. I have so many shares of Antonio Brown, and I've talked about how very high on Antonio Brown and how I think he's gonna have just an amazing year where he could potentially be a top 15 wide receiver when it's all said and done. And I even ended up making a trade for him right before the Sunday night or the Thursday night game went live. It was like 5 minutes beforehand. I had to scramble to get him into my lineup, but it was a good spot to get him in because he ended up having 21 points in that league. That's a half point PPR league. I know in the full point PPR league he ended up having 23.7. I have him in our high stakes league, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy it's coming to fruition and it's looking good, and it looks like I was dead on with that take.
Yeah, so the one guy that I forgot about was Antonio Brown, so thank you, Kai. Even though I shouted his name from the rooftops for like 6 hours yesterday by myself, which I knew Josh would support me, so that's why I shouted it by myself for that long. So he had a smash game last night. Everybody went off except for Mike Evans, so that's kind of the
Yeah.
story of what happened last night. Obviously Zeke too. I actually am. I wonder who had Zeke in this league. Anyway, we can talk about that. We'll show my screen here in a little bit, and we'll run through kind of what happened and what's to be expected for the Week One Dynasty RotoRadar official league. There, we also are going to have some sort of leaderboard for you guys every week and how that shapes out, so you'll be able to keep track and watch live on how our dynasty draft is doing. It features a lot of loyal members as well as most of the pros in the company, as well as a few very close friends of ours. So we are very pumped. It's very competitive, and I can't wait because this is the first year that we're actually really doing it. So we have a lot invested in it.
Yeah, we certainly do have a lot invested in it. I love this Dynasty League. I've been so into Dynasty recently. I got into it for my first season last year. And then ever since then, I was telling the guys on the stream that I think I have 9 Dynasty teams. I think I have 7 Dynasty teams with 2 redrafts. So a lot to keep up with, but I love
Yeah,
it. And I love this Roto Radar League.
I do too. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Again, once um, we're gonna switch over the screen here in a second, but I do want to say that we've talked so much DFS. We just had an hour and a half podcast. Actually, that was probably closer to 2 hours. So now it's time to talk actual fantasy football, season long style. No DFS talk today. We'll get into that later in the weekend. And then you have a bunch of shows that you can watch either on Twitch or that are uploaded to YouTube. So if you have any questions or want to watch any of those shows back from earlier in the week, like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube at RotoRadar Daily Fantasy Sports, and you can find everything that we've talked about from earlier in the week, including my Gronk mistake. All
For
right,
sure.
let's go over to the main screen here, where we get to lay out this sleeper format. This actually looks pretty nice on the full screen, not gonna lie. It works out pretty damn well. You can see here that this is the RotoRadar official Dynasty League from this year. It's a 14-team league, Dynasty PPR. You see a lot of these similar names. My name specifically is I Declare Bankruptcy. It's an Office reference. I get to take on Anthony Link. You guys know him, the esports pro. Script, Ty, dude, what's going on, my dude? Love you. Kai, our AP for this show specifically. I love your name, dude. I didn't even realize you put tanking for Rattler. That's hilarious. That didn't go so well last week, did it? Anyway, Grace to you, Team Grace. What's up? What's going on, everybody? Brady Bunch, KJ against Christian Cardenas. Christian, I feel for your Cowboys team last night, man. That was a heartbreaker. I know that you're excited about that team, and you should be proud of that offense last night. They looked really good. Josh, you get the matchup of the week going up against Sean.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that dude, but it looks pretty lopsided right now.
I'll imagine that, really. You think so?
Yeah, 99% to 1%. We'll get into that matchup here in a little bit because we are going to go matchup by matchup and go through this thing. We have Eric Rosenthal, who you guys all know. Eric Sports, really good friend of ours. Team Pitbulls, KV Pitt, you guys know him from the chat as well. Giannis Verprez, one of our APs, Chris, he's a Milwaukee homeboy. Slingshot, you all know Craig. And then Biggie Delt, obviously you guys know him as the Prize Picks GOAT. And then finally, the Bomb Squad, Jake Hoos, John, our AP for the podcast. So yeah, lots of RotoRadar members, lots of RotoRadar managers, lots of good friends and loyal members. It's going to be a good one, and I think that this is going to be something that we do for years to come. I think that people are going to be making some, they're going to definitely be made fun of in this league, as you can see in the chat. We can scroll up and scroll down in here and take a look at what it said earlier. I got made fun of, Josh, and I got all the crying emojis on my Gus Edwards drop that I had to make, because honestly, there's no point of keeping him on this league because this league is just so stacked and everybody's so sharp, and there's just no reason for me to have him on my roster anymore.
Yeah, I understand it completely, that drop. And Man, just sad to see what's happening with these Baltimore running backs, and it's even sadder to see that somehow Sean lucked into having Le'Veon Bell in his in the draft, just because I think he was just auto drafting at that point, and that's the reason he ended up getting Bell. And
He did.
now because he has Bell, I don't know, Bell's not going to be a starting running back. I think that team's going to be big time running back by committee, but I think Bell will have some touches, so like he's always viable when he gets those touches.
Yeah, there may be one. I think we should table this and talk about the Ravens really quick because we didn't really cover that game much in our DFS talks or just even betting talks over the course of the week. So they do have a really really solid matchup against the Raiders. They are expected to be the favorite on the road. Crazy stuff always happens in Vegas, so I wouldn't be shocked if something else happened this week. But at the same time, we're focusing on the actual running backs for this team. You now have three guys that I don't. The only one that really makes sense from a pickup perspective is picking up Latavius Murray, right? Which we saw last night during the game and then into this morning as actually was official. So Latavius Murray for me is kind of similar to that Gus Edwards style bell cow back. He has the ability to catch balls out of the backfield too, even though the Baltimore Ravens really don't utilize the running backs that way, right? But the signings of Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman really stick out to me as players that just don't fit this system. Now, can they be used as streaming options moving forward as a possible flex scenario where you're desperate for a running back down the road? I think so. Getting the right one is going to be the issue here. And I don't know, Josh, I think we still should point out the fact that Lamar Jackson is going to be this team's RB1, I think, for the entire year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my buddies were like, and then some other leagues, they were picking up the guy that Trenton Canton, the same guy that Jay Cruz picked up.
I picked
in
him
this
up
league.
too. Yep.
Yeah, I picked him up in some other leagues, but like, I don't know, like how much is I think it's fine to pick him up just because it gives you a chance of getting a running back that could do something fantasy wise, at least in PPR formats. But like, again, this is going to be a running back by committee with the RB1 being Lamar Jackson. So I don't know how high I am on all these rushing options. I know people are trying to get, Le'Veon Bell in their other leagues and all those guys, but I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if they're going to be viable season-long fantasy guys whatsoever.
Yeah, we can talk about Tyson Williams because I know that there's some comments in the chat about him. I'm a fan of the guy. Like I rostered him and I watched his preseason tape and we played him in August and I have no issues with considering him as part of this group, but it's just one more piece in the puzzle that makes up this team. So I don't know. We know the style of how Baltimore plays, and I think Tyson fits a little bit more in that groove of what J.K. Dobbins was supposed to be. I'm kind of a mixture of Gus and J.K., but I don't think we really know what the RB1 situation is. So for me, I think that we just take a wait and see approach. And again, there will be times during the season where you can stream against different opponents. This could be one of them. However, I think we're at the point right now where this has already been like, if you look at the sleeper, additions on the waiver wire, all these guys are picked up in the top 4. So like, if you haven't made the move yet, you're not going to be able to make it now. And you kind of just have to wait and see on how this thing goes. Yep,
for sure. I'm looking. I just started looking at Sean's team because I forgot we were matched up in this league until we talked about it, and I didn't realize he doesn't have a QB. Like he just straight up he only drafted Deshaun Watson and that's it.
Yeah, that makes it interesting, right?
Time to go pick up all the QBs on the waiver wire.
Let's look at that really quick. I have this pulled up for your matchup, but let's actually go out of here and look at who is available for quarterback in this league.
Well, you're about to see a live edition right here because I'm about to add Jimmy G to the lineup right now, actually.
That's hilarious. You just took possibly his best option.
Yeah, that was not only the idea behind that, but I also have Daniel Jones as my QB. So I don't have a good QB option right now. I'd rather have Jimmy G over Daniel Jones probably in the starting lineup. Or I don't know, I might go Baker too. I think Baker isn't the worst option ever. So that's not only a play that kind of corners Sean's into taking Taylor or who was the other one? Andy Dalton that's still on the waiver wire. But I think it's also an addition to my team that probably helps, and I don't need Taysom Hill because I don't have Jameis Winston.
Yeah, going back to the chat, I mean, it is a very, very scary Monday gamble. It's a Monday night game, that Baltimore Ravens game is, and man, like I understand if Harbaugh said it was Williams, what happens if that doesn't go well in the first quarter or the first half? You're pretty screwed. That's all I'll say on that. Um, yeah, you're telling me that he has the options that he has. Like I said, this team is so deep, or this league is so deep that his options, his final three options are a quarterback two against a very good defense, Andy Dalton against the Rams on primetime Sunday night, which is a disaster, and then Tyrod Taylor, who honestly is his best option at this point. He could survive 1 week with Tyrod Taylor, but probably not beating you. That's all I'll say there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so let's look at the matchups again. Let's go through that one first because I think that obviously you're on this show and we should talk about that one.
For sure. Let's talk about it.
While we bring this up, Brian wants to know if I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts at QB, I desperately need a wide receiver. Which one should I hold? Trade Allen for a better receiver or trade Hurts for a lesser value receiver? Let's see.
You know my answer, man.
Yeah.
You know where I am on this train. Like it's pretty easy for me.
Right. So Josh and I both agree that Josh Allen's going to have an MVP season, but the reason we bring that up is because you can use that as insane trade bait and probably get 2 or 3 guys that are actually competent and starting players. Whereas with Jalen Hurts, we both believe that he is going to be a guy that could be a top 5 QB this season. So getting less players or less value for him would probably be the lower end of that. So honestly, if we had to pick one or the other, I would say you should be shopping Josh Allen and trying to get a huge haul for him.
Yes, definitely. Make sure to make the selling point is that team doesn't have any running backs. Allen is essentially the RB1. He's also an amazing QB that has plenty of weapons. And everyone values Josh Allen highly. Meanwhile, not many people value Jalen Hurts highly right now. I think we're in the minority there, believing that Jalen Hurts is really going to have a phenomenal season. So you're going to be able to get a lot more for Josh Allen. And I would shop around Allen for right now.
All right, let's break this thing down here. We obviously know that Sean's going to adjust his lineup beforehand, but imagine this is Tyrod Taylor. I think that kind of actually is a little bit of a wash, right? Like maybe he's projected for like 15, 16 points, but how much are you expecting from Jimmy against the Detroit Lions? I'm not really sure. I think that he is probably your better option than who? Daniel Jones? Yeah. So, yeah, I think that Garoppolo is the better play there. Let's look at the running back depth. I like your Chubb scenario. I know that, I don't know, I think that Sleeper's, grading Aaron Jones a little bit too high in the spot. But their projection rankings are fairly accurate for the most part. How do you feel about your running back core, and how do you feel about the rest of your team?
Yeah, I feel like my running back core is honestly top heavy right now, right? I have Chubb, and I really do like the Chubb play. I think he's going to be a good fantasy running back. I talked a little bit on the show how I don't like the Chris Carson play, but I'm just fine with it as my RB2. And I also have Kenyon Drake, who I do think is going to be a factor in that Vegas team because they're going to have to pass the ball so much. He's going to be a third down back essentially, and going to be a guy that could rack up receptions. So I don't mind it. I don't like having Drake as my RB3, but I don't think it's the worst spot ever. I also have the handcuff for Chris Carson with DJ Dallas, who I might potentially not be the handcuff. Who knows with that team? But I think my running back depth is okay. What I really like is my wide receiver core.
Yeah. Oh, you also have a bench spot to play with too. Anyway,
I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to further my point here, this league is so deep because we drafted 16, 17 rounds, 18 rounds, something like that. It's a lot longer than normal for most drafts. So yeah, it's gonna be deep. There's literally zero to no value here, and unfortunately, you already lost Samuel, who's probably, in my opinion, probably missing this season. But we'll see how that shapes out. Once Sean does get his act together and move a bunch of these players around, I would say his team's probably around the 110 mark, if I had to guess.
We'll see. we'll see with that
right.
team, man.
We'll see is right. Little Italy asks probably the most stumping question that could be asked. Would you trade Lamar Jackson for Josh Allen straight up?
I don't know, man. I think that's close. I favor the Allen side a little bit more than I favor the Lamar Jackson side.
So do
So
I.
if you're getting Allen, then I think you win that trade. But I think either both sides is really close. I also am just a big Juju guy, or not Juju as in like Juju Smith-Schuster, but like a big vibe guy. And the fact that they keep getting injured just spells trouble for me. So like I don't know how much I would buy into Baltimore guys right now with all those guys just continuing to get injured.
Yeah, not even just the running backs. It's obviously they lost Marcus Peters too, and the same like the one play after, and then they also have injured receivers that are battling through things even before the season starts. Like Hollywood Brown returned to practice this week. He's good to go, but he had a lingering hamstring, which is going to affect how that first half of the season goes. And then you also have Rashad Bateman, their one of their draft picks from this year, highly touted rookie, but he dealt with an injury the entire preseason, and now he's out for an extended period of time. They did sign Mark Andrews for a 4-year deal, so I expect him to be healthy and good to go. But outside of that, man, if you're relying on him, Sammy Watkins, who we know is very injury prone, and Marquise Brown, it's going to be rough sledding for Lamar Jackson. Whereas Josh Allen's weapons have stayed healthy for the most part, and we should see them dominate through the air as they are the more pass-heavy team.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, let's move on here and look at mine and Anthony's league. I wonder if Anthony's in here. Shout out Anthony if you're in here. I'm probably gonna win this week, by the way.
Hey, tell it like it is, man. Tell it like it is.
I do have Joe Burrow in this league, which actually is kind of funny because I was just talking about how I hate that offensive line matchup for them this week on the podcast. That's fun. He equally gets a tough matchup against Washington with Justin Herbert. I have Saquon Barkley, and I had to drop Gus Edwards a couple days ago. So now I'm forced into RB2 scenario with Naeem Hines, which is gross. So thankfully we play on Sleeper, which means it's a PPR. Well, we play PPR format pretty strictly. So he definitely has me beat in the running back territory. And I think that literally every group in every league that I'm in, I get out run by the running backs in all of my leagues. So my main focus is making sure I got all my pass catchers locked up. So for me, I got that ceiling game out of Amari Cooper last night. He is back in full force. I think with Dak there's just like an unspoken language between the two of them, and they should dominate the entire year. I also have Calvin Ridley, who is my favorite wide receiver in football this season. I expect him to dominate on Sunday against the Eagles secondary. And then I have Darren Waller and Deontay Johnson. I have to make some extra pivots here because I know that the Raiders actually cut John Brown. For those of you who didn't know that, that's probably the most surprising cut of the league outside of Cam Newton is John Brown being cut by this Raiders team in a spot where he was projected to be the wide receiver 2 behind Darren Waller. So I'm a big Bryan Edwards guy. So I hope that he takes that step up. But again, it's probably just going to be Darren Waller's team. And then I have the defense against Green Bay, which is not good. So for as bad as the rest of my team is, I feel pretty good about some of these plays. So,
dude, and like I just looked at your bench. You have fucking Elijah Moore on your bench. You're gonna be just fine. Move him in for John Brown, and you're chilling, dude.
I will.
I love your team. I want your team, man. Fuck my team.
I also have Gabe Davis in the eventuality that Emmanuel Sanders gets hurt, and we'll see. I forgot I had Tyrell Williams. Talked about how bad that wide receiver group is, and then eventually I'm waiting for Justin Fields to come in and be that dude. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to have Justin Fields for the future, for whatever or whenever that looks. D Ramified asks Chase or T this week in regard to the Bengals wide receivers. So Jamar Chase or T Higgins. I think both Josh and I are on the T Higgins train for the foreseeable future, at least for the first month of the year. We're not really big Jamar Chase fans. We've talked down enough on him. I won't go into the ball thing or the domestic dispute thing, but there's just a lot of things working against him, especially in his first week again in the NFL. So I think I'm going to go with T Higgins.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I would side with the T Higgins part of that conversation. It's just going to be a wait and see approach for Jamar Chase, in my opinion.
Yeah, Um, biggest head scratcher was Kiki Kuti cut. Yeah, I think he makes that list. Also drafted by Sean in our league, so he'll have to figure that out.
I don't think it was that big of a head scratcher, though. I think they knew that Kiki Kuti would compete for that wide receiver 2 role, and I think they want to see what they have in Nico Collins. I'm high on Nico Collins as a rookie. I think that he will impress a lot of people, and so like I don't think it's that much of a head scratcher.
Who
I
didn't
don't
he
know.
get picked up already on a practice squad?
Colts.
Colts. That's right. That's right. He could find himself on that squad if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, for sure. I completely think so.
Francisco also got Ridley and Cooper on a 2 league and also very high on Ridley this year. Yes, sir. High on Ridley this year. Not high enough,
Yeah.
but probably, yeah. Let's see. Who do we want to go through next? Kai, you're on the stream. Let's do this right now. You are facing Grace to you, who is one of our loyal members. You had Tom Brady last night. I knew you got him in probably the 8th or 9th round in this league, which is a fantastic pick. I was trying to scoop Brady where I could as well. You also have to go up against Kyler Murray, which thankfully you had an awesome performance from your QB, as Kyler Murray should be able to pop off this week against the Titans. We talked about that on the podcast. You can see that Kai's little comment down here made the screen. The champ is here. You have Derrick Henry and Najee Harris. Honestly, probably the best running back duo in the league on somebody's team. I don't think that's even disputable. We can look at that later, but two very, very solid picks at running back. You're going against Miles Sanders and Myles Gaskin, the Miles team. Both, I think Sanders is fine this week. Gaskin, I'm afraid of. So we'll see how that goes. And then on the wide receiver end, you have Fiona Robinson. Fiona in a smash spot. Robinson does not have good historics against Jalen Ramsey, who I expect to be shadow covering him. But we'll see how that goes Sunday night. And then you have to face Tyreek Hill, Henry Ruggs. Talk about Henry Ruggs, Josh. And are you high on him this year, or do you think you're leaning towards Bryan Edwards? How do you feel about Ruggs?
I'm high on both of them. I think that they can both be successful in this offense, especially knowing that Raiders do have a bad defense. They're going to have to pass the ball a ton this season. I've talked about it before, but guys who are wide receivers specifically, who are in that second year, typically do better. I mean, it's just a proven fact that these guys, when they go into their second year, they learn a lot of things from their first year, and they do get better. So we got to remember that Ruggs is an incredibly fast wide receiver. He's an incredibly talented wide receiver. He's not a bum, even though he did have a subpar season last year. And I think he does take a step forward alongside Bryan Edwards. So I love the Ruggs play that Grace has on their team. I also this team that Grace has is pretty solid. Outside of Gaskin, who I really don't like as a running back, and honestly, I'm kind of iffy on Sanders too, but like really good wide receivers. Having Tyreek Hill, having Ruggs, having Corey Davis as well. I think I can get behind all of those wide receivers and Terrence Marshall on the bench.
Certainly. RT Hartley, thank you for the follow, my dude. What's going on? Guys, again, if you have any questions, this is not a DFS show. This is a full fantasy show. So like any season-long questions for any league that you have, whether it be work or friends or family or literally anything in this community, you can feel free to ask us any of your questions. Should I sit this guy? Should I start this guy? Who do you like over this guy? Trade scenarios. We'll cover it all for you. And we're going to be breaking down the RotoRadar Dynasty League as well as some of the buy-in leagues that we have over the course of the season. So the one thing, obviously, is that T.Y. Hilton's going to miss. So hopefully everybody adjusts their rosters. Because I myself, Josh, I was telling Kai before the show, I forgot to set all of my rosters last night. But thankfully, I had all of the players actually in their lineups. So thankfully, we're good there. But I would have been sick to my stomach if I missed out on Amari Cooper's stealing game.
Yeah, that would have definitely stunk a little bit if you missed out on the Amari Cooper game. I almost forgot to set all my lineups yesterday too. Actually, I know I play a lot of dynasty leagues, so like there's a lot of taxi squads as well. I think I did end up missing setting a few of my taxi squads, so it's going to be interesting to see how things turn out.
Grace Dew also has Zacchaeus and Terrace Marshall on the bench, which two very awesome sides to that. Kai has Russell Gage as well as Damian Harris and Jalen Hurts. KJ, what's up, my dude? scaring the crap out of me with the music in my ears. What's going on? Thank you so much.
Listen to that.
Yeah, you get it for the morning, I get it for this show. So that's how it is. What's going on? Thank you for gifting the sub to Mills9042. He's got Damian Harris and he has Jalen Hurts for the eventuality of Tom Brady retiring. So you're set at quarterback, man, for a very, very long time. All right, next matchup here. We'll try to fly through a couple of these faster. Ryan Tannehill versus Zach Wilson for my man KJ versus Christian Cardenas. He got 5 points out of Zeke last night. Don't worry about it, my man. I already told some members, like, don't freak out about the Zeke Elliott play last night. He wasn't set up for success, and so there will be times to stream him, and more than likely you're going to get a top 8 finish out of him this year. So nothing to worry about for me. As far as this other side, I like the pairing of Mixon and Robinson. I think this running back group, well done, guys. Very well drafted. I like it a lot. Tyler Lockett versus Marquez Callaway. We saw Christian get the Godwin side of things as well as the Jarwin side of things last night. He also got Mike Evans for KJ. I'm interested to hear the chat's thoughts on who would you take this week between, I don't know, Gibson in a tougher matchup, but with being the bell cow versus James Robinson in a cupcake matchup versus the Houston Texans. This seems like a very interesting spot in this league and how this matchup plays out specifically. Obviously, right now, Christian's got the big advantage because he got the big game from Chris Godwin. But I'm interested to see the chat's thoughts on Gibson versus Robinson and kind of want to hear your take on that, Josh, too, because I do believe that you're high on both of these guys this week.
I am high on both of these guys. Robinson for more of a DFS setting, and Gibson I've been high on in a lot of my drafts. I have him in a ton of places. So I think I'm ever so slightly, leaning the Gibson way. Could have, again, like the Robinson thing, like the only reason I'm slightly leaning Gibson is because I believe this Jacksonville play calling is going to be important to see week 1. You know, what was the preseason for this team? Wasn't actually preparing for the regular season and the fact that those were the plays that they were going to run? Or is it that they went vanilla during the preseason so they could kind of impress some people during the regular season? I can't wait to see what the case is on Sunday, but for right now, I believe in Gibson. I believe this guy has a CMC type role in this offense, and for that reason, even against a decently tough defense in the Chargers, I'm still leaning Gibson.
Yeah. I think I also go with that because we're not talking DFS, right? So you're not talking price, you're not talking value, you're not really talking about anything other than where you drafted them. So for me, it's Gibson in this matchup, especially if he does get the 3 downs. I think Robinson can get 3 downs, but at the same time, he does have Carlos Hyde there in the backfield that could potentially take some 3rd down action from him. Let's see, Scribb, Austin Hooper, or Big Bob Tanyan. Throwing the dude Big Bob in there. Josh, I don't know. This range of tight end is kind of gross, but I think I have to side with Mr. Tanyan here against the Saints.
Yeah, I think it's extremely close, but I do agree with you in that Tanyan is probably your better option over Hooper.
Right. Keith just walked on my desk. He didn't get Saquon. Or Derrick Henry, but he was close.
That's good.
Anyway, let's go with RT Hartley, Mostert, or Chenault PPR flex spot. This one's very interesting, right? Because I love Chenault. I think he's gonna have a great season with Trevor Lawrence. He's already established connection with him in the preseason and in camp. I like that quite a bit as DJ Chark gets back into the flow of things. And without Travis Etienne there, I think that means a big bump for Chenault in that Swiss Army knife type role. Raheem Mostert on the other side is in probably the best matchup in regard to running backs from a team perspective. The Niners, I mean, do they rush the ball 40 times against the Lions? Like that could be a real possibility, especially with Jimmy back there at QB. So yeah, Mostert or Chenault PPR flex. The reason I will say Chenault here is because I think the PPR matters.
Yeah, I agree. It's purely because of the PPR. That's why I'm leading Chenault here. Mostert doesn't have much catching or pass catching upside in this matchup specifically, so I'll lean Chenault.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I'd hate to go against that because Mostert is one of my favorite DFS plays of the week too. So, but again, pricing doesn't matter in this scenario. Let's see. Who are running backs that are on the waiver wire that you could see playing a big role week 6 and beyond? Well, let's take a look. I will just preface that question or preface my answer by saying I don't think that we're going to see nearly the amount of running backs on the waiver wire in this league than we would in your standard friend or work league, because first, this team or this draft is super deep, and then second, there's a lot of sharp players in this league in general. So let's take a look. Got Geo up top, wavered, Ingram, Booker. So I guess the first thing here is like in this range, Booker and Montgomery. I don't necessarily see them we're looking for big injuries, right? So if Saquon does not look healthy, or if he's hurt, or if something happens to him, Devontae Booker would be the main beneficiary to that, and he would take over for that because they don't have Wayne Gallman anymore in the backfield to compete with. They also don't have Devontae Freeman either. So Booker is a guy I could see stashing on the bench in hopes of maybe a handcuff situation or something like that. Ty Montgomery, a Swiss Army knife for the New Orleans Saints. We saw a lot of him in the slot and in helping out with the receiving core due to the lack of options there for the Saints now with Michael Thomas being out. I don't know. Another really risky play, but again, could be a guy if something happens to one of their running backs or to a wide receiver, or maybe Deontay Harris or Marquez Callaway can't get the job done. I don't know. Maybe Traquan Smith stays hurt like he has been. It's going to be a tough spot, but I don't see much in here, Josh. Maybe Wayne Gallman if Mike Davis doesn't play well. Matt Breida could be a guy that maybe Buffalo uses a little bit more at the end of the season. Not much down here, though.
Yeah, not much at all, right? Like, no matter which way you go, it's just kind of ugly. So Wayne Gallman would be my one guy that I think you can at least consider. We saw him statistically wise be an actually decent running back last year, which is kind of surprising because you don't think of that when you hear the name Wayne Gallman. But you look up and down, and he was actually a pretty efficient runner at the end of the day. So I think that there's potentially a chance if you see Mike Davis play poorly that Wayne Gallman could be your guy. So he's the one guy that I would consider that could have some value after week 6. But outside of that, this waiver wire, especially in this league, is going to be extremely empty. There's just it's too deep.
Yeah.
There's too many rounds. It's going to be tough to find anyone of value.
I agree. One Shots and Haas, thank you both for the follows in the last couple minutes. Appreciate you guys. If you'd like to answer or ask a question regarding season-long leagues, I think you just need to hit that sub button, or somebody honestly might gift it to you because it is September and our community is the greatest. Let's
For
see.
sure.
What was the question here? Oh, what Ravens backs do we target in season long from RT Hartley? I think we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show, but I think right now it's tough to even get a grasp on anybody. So my first answer would be Lamar Jackson. And if you haven't done that, you can maybe make a trade case for that. Other than that, though, they're probably already gone in your leagues. And if they aren't, I guess what would your priorities be, Josh? Would you go? Because for me, I think I'm leaning. I would prioritize Latavius Murray and Tyson Williams, and then kind of forget about Le'Veon Bell and Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think it's rough. I think it's probably going to be a running back by committee approach. I think that they're going to not be very fantasy relevant at the end of the day. And like we said, Lamar Jackson is the QB1. I bet Lamar Jackson ends up having more rushing touchdowns than any one of the running backs that we just mentioned from this backfield. So, and my advice when it comes to targeting one of these Ravens backs, don't target one of these Ravens backs. Just call it a day. Like you already lost Gus Bus. You already lost J.K. Dobbins. If you had those two in your lineup, and that sucks. You got to find a way to capitalize on trades or maybe some waiver wire play later in the week.
Yeah, My comment on that is like, why inflict yourself more pain? Just why? Why try to you're already down bad? Why just put yourself even further, right? Like it's exactly what happened. Because in all honesty, in all truth, they just made this. They picked up 4 guys in a matter of or 3 guys in a matter of a day and a half, and now the group is worse off than it was before in terms of just how deep it is. So yeah, it's a gross situation. KJ, I'm on the fence with Campbell or Beasley. Yeah, that was when we were looking at your league there. I honestly would probably side with Cole Beasley. I think that game is, well, I don't know. Paris Campbell, also a pretty good matchup against Seattle. I think I still lean Beasley, though.
Yeah, I think I slightly lean Beasley, but it's close.
It is definitely close. Waiver wire is dry. Yes, it is. It is on all these leagues because you guys are the goat.
You guys are hounds, is what y'all are.
Yeah, seriously. I saw. So we were talking in NFL Discord yesterday when this injury happened to Gus Edwards, and I went to sleeper as fast as I could, and sleeper crashed like four times, and by the time I even couldn't even make a move, he was gone, which is crazy.
Yep.
Should have, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Should have started Gronk. No, I don't feel bad about starting Gronk. That was the right play. I'm never gonna let this go.
Never, man.
All right. Let's look at another matchup here. We did not go over John and Biggie's matchup, so if we want to do that, we can definitely do that. So let's take a look.
Let's do it. Close, man. This is
my...
according to Sleeper, this is going to be a dogfight year.
Yeah, this is the closest from what I'm seeing outside of Eric versus Keith. Keith got minus 1.6. I wonder who that probably was Ronald Jones, wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh, that's so bad. I'm sorry, Keith. Anyway.
Yeah, rough.
Okay, so yeah, this one's expected to be within 3 points. He got a solid outing from Leonard Fournette. Thankfully, that interception didn't go against you at all. It went against Tom Brady, but he should have caught that ball last night. By the way, let's bring up the fact that Leonard Fournette is a super trippy number 7 now. I saw that last night, and I was like, oh, who is this dude? And it was Fournette the whole time. So he looks bigger. I mean, he looks noticeably bigger than he did last year, which I don't know if that really matters too much. Maybe it's the number, but I mean, just be careful with. I don't know who the Bucs are playing next week, but be careful with this Fournette play. I don't know if you have running back depth behind him. Okay, you have Mike Davis in your flex. Okay, nothing really down here. Tony Jones is in there. That's nice. But yeah, Leonard Fournette, be careful with him. I think you probably just have to play him anyway. But it could easily be a situation where it could be Ronald Jones who comes in and is the workhorse next week. Let's see. Yeah, I like this a lot. You just have Kamara in a good spot. Big E's wide receivers, I'm a little nervous for.
Really?
Kenny Galladay and Deebo Samuel, along with Chase Edmonds. I have mixed feelings on Chase Edmonds, but my initial thought is actually trending downward. How do you feel about Edmonds? And I know he also has James Conner in the same boat.
Yeah, I would start one or the other, in all honesty. And man, I don't really know if you have that option with your bench guys. But I don't know. I don't like starting both of them. I think Edmonds is probably the better out of the two because it is a PPR league. But I don't know. It's extremely close. I like Jacoby, though. I really like the Myers play in your flex spot, and I like T. Higgins as your flex spot. I just feel like your RB2 needs some work, and even your guys on your bench aren't that great outside of maybe a James White, who I could see being a PPR beast this year. It'll be interesting to see what happens with those Niners, those Patriot running backs.
All right, John's team, he has Stafford, who I think is going to take a big step forward. You know, this Bears defense is respectable enough. I do think that they get pummeled, the Bears, this weekend, but it's more so on the offensive side of things than it is defensive. So I think he should be in line for a very good season. I know that you have Mac Jones as your secondary quarterback, who I'm sure that you will probably move on to eventually in this Dynasty League. Moving forward here, Jonathan Taylor. I'm very, very off of Taylor this year. I understand why you did what you did. We didn't really know what the status of Marlon Mack was when this draft happened. So, Lotto, what's up, man? It reminds me that I have to take out one of these earbuds before I lose both of my ears. All right. Laudo 1961 giving a shout out tier 1 sub to Bovada's firstborn. Nice nickname, my dude. All right. Yeah, let's talk about Jonathan Taylor here. Again, I'm not really that high on him. Could he have matchups where he is very good? Yes. I think that this one is interesting. 18 seems a little bit high with that running back by committee. But maybe, Josh, maybe this doesn't even end up being a running back by committee. Maybe Jonathan Taylor just takes that step and they're like, you know what, Mac, your time is up. So, I mean, that's kind of harsh, but this league is unforgiving.
This league is certainly unforgiving, especially when it comes to their running backs and two running backs who end up getting those big injuries, like we saw with Mac last season. Regardless, I still think it's RBBC, but we'll see. Um, I just think it was overdraft by Taylor or for Taylor here, right? He got taken with 1.04. I just went to go look. I don't know who went in the first three, but I know that probably Taylor at 1.04 was the wrong play.
Yeah, I went 7 or 8 and I got Saquon. So I think if I'm remembering that draft correctly. I do like your wide receivers. I think Julio is a fantastic option this year. Hopkins, fantastic. Like your 1-2 there is great. McLaurin as your flex spot is also amazing. Mark Andrews, tight end, solid job there. He's going to have a field day against Washington. Las Vegas this week. And then obviously you have Freiermuth, who I'm a little bit scared of in that offense. He looked really bad in the preseason, like really bad. So again, preseason is preseason, but obviously he is not the tight end one. He's right behind Eric Ebron, but I do expect Freiermuth to advance on the depth chart as the season progresses. Mike Davis, both Josh and I like Mike Davis. Josh actually loves Mike Davis, so I think he's in a good spot against Philly here. The depth of the Atlanta running backs is interesting, but again, I think Davis is the clear guy that can do everything for this team, so I don't mind that at all.
For sure. Little Italy asks, start two of these guys, Keenan Cole, Claypool, Ayuk, Robert Woods, and Chenault. This is 1 point PPR.
Okay.
I know Woods is definitely one of them for me. And I think Claypool's my second guy. What do you think there?
Start two of that group. Keenan definitely for the full point PPR. He's the best in that range as far as the amount of targets that he's going to get. And yeah, this is a tougher decision, but give me Robert Woods because I think Chase Claypool specifically is more of a half PPR kind of guy.
I completely saw Keenan, and I don't know why my brain went to this, but it's been a long morning, and I thought Keenan Cole. So if that's Keenan Allen, then yes, yeah. Keenan Allen, 100%. I would choose Allen and Woods. Yeah. So it literally says it's Keenan Allen. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So Keenan Allen and Woods. Don't start Claypool over either one of those guys. Kai asked McCole or Gage for full point PPR. Give me the Gage. I'm on the Russell Gage train, baby.
Yeah, full point. I have to agree. Haas, what's up, dude? Thank you for the follow. Man, I don't want to say Gage, but I have to. So, I guess Haas is hitting the button a lot about following us. Shout out, my dude. Okay.
Shout out. We also Jay Cruz asked if he should take Nico Collins off of his what did he say? Take Nico Collins off of the taxi. I wouldn't take anyone off a taxi right now. It's too early, in all honesty.
Yeah, you're right, Kai. I've complimented Gage today, complimented Marvin Jones today. I don't know what year it is and what's happening to me, but I guess this is what full time is being. This is what full time's all about, right?
Yeah, this is what full time is all about.
All right, let's look at another matchup here. Maybe we look. Let's look at Chris versus Craig. See this matchup really quick. Okay, Chris drafted Mahomes, and his running backs were definitely in the third round, or fourth turn. Craig, I remember having an amazing auto draft because he auto drafted for half the year or half of the league. So he got McCaffrey 1, and then I also believe that he capitalized on a few other things. So I like Craig's team quite a bit. Kind of worked out weird that he auto drafted so well for the majority of the draft. The running backs in this group are good. I like it a lot. I'm nervous with both of their first wide receivers in DJ Chark and Odell Beckham. I think that they'll both be okay, but again, they're both coming off of injury-related seasons, and while they are the number one wide receivers in their offense, there are other guys on their teams that can step up and play a little bit better than them. Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, go ahead.
You ready to cringe a little bit?
Sure.
Go look at Sling's bench.
Okay, not good. Not good.
Not good at
Not
all.
good. Not good.
Not good at all.
Not good. Oh no, really not good. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the not good part. That's the
Hey,
not
wait.
good part, man.
He's still projected to win though by 20 points.
Slingshot might dominate the league. Holy crap. Imagine if he
Oh,
got those two
Craig.
guys in at his flex.
Oh no. Oh,
Oh no.
Craig, you're not listening to this. I know you're not, but I'm gonna have to text you after this.
Yeah, gonna have to give him some strong words.
Oh no.
That's
Anyway,
funny.
that's probably the biggest fail of the show, and possibly the biggest fail of the season.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Anyway, Chris, you have the opportunity here to actually make some moves and try to survive this week. Not sure if you're going to be able to do it, but it could happen. He does have Jalen
Anything's
Reagor,
possible.
Sterling Shepard, Jalen Waddle. I like all those three guys for the course of the season.
For sure. We did just get some breaking news, Jared. Michael Gallup suffered a calf strain in Thursday's loss. He will be missing for 3 to 5 weeks.
Oh no. Okay. That's not good for me. I have him in a lot of places. But
That's
that is
good for
very,
me.
very
I
good
have,
news for Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb.
yeah, baby. Big time news for those two.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can survive the rest of the show without any devastating injuries. Let's see.
We'll see. Maybe.
Cedric Wilson also benefits, I agree. All right. And then finally, I'm just curious to see who this minus 1.6 was. And then we can move on to a different league. Yeah, it was Ronald Jones. Okay.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Dak Prescott, impressive. Also, I don't expect him to throw 60 times a game, but I will say that I was very, very pleased to see what he was able to do last night.
Jared, you asked for no more breaking news, but we already got some breaking news. Xavier Rhodes, cornerback for the Colts, is out this week against Seattle.
All right, DK Metcalf
baby.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, some
All
true
right.
DK Metcalf.
So is it just Russ and DK stack time, or is it the three of them? Because that's kind of what I want to do.
I think it's just DK and Russ for me. I still believe in Kenny Moore as the slot corner for that Colts team, but I mean, I think you can do whatever. Honestly, I think that you're probably. I said that I was on Colts +3 at the beginning of the week. I think I'm slowly leaning over to the other side.
Yeah. For me, I was never able to draft DK Metcalf because I landed in it was really weird. I landed in if it was any spot between 5 and 9 was where I was getting picked every single time, and so for me that meant grabbing Travis Kelce, grabbing one of the top running backs, grabbing Tyreek Hill. So DK was always going in the 1.10, 1.11 range, and I just couldn't get anywhere to it. But I will have exposure where I can this weekend. That's going to be something that I'm pretty pumped about because that
Definitely.
matchup is huge. We even thought that Xavier Rhodes was the best personnel option to cover him, and now if he's out, there's no one that can stop DK Metcalf.
Yep, I 100% agree with you.
All right, let's move on to the $250 buy-in, our higher stakes league that we did and drafted actually last Sunday. So this is one matchup in. I obviously got the short end of the stick last night against Sharp, who drafted Tom Brady, but I was able to capitalize and get a good performance from Godwin and a bad performance from Mike Evans. So I feel like I'm okay in this spot. I do have, let's see, what is this team again? I have Trevor Lawrence going up against Houston. So many leagues to cover. I don't remember which one I have in which. So again, this is another league where I didn't prioritize running backs at all. My RB2 play is AJ Dillon, which I know is ugly, and I got him in the 9th round, 10th round. But I think I have another guy. I have Malcolm Brown. I do have Trenton Cannon. That's pretty much it though. So I do have Jameson Crowder, who is probably not going to play this season ever because he's just going to either get hurt or have COVID. So
yeah.
I do have Trey Lance at some point eventually, but I don't know if I'll need to do that until Trevor Lawrence has a bye week. So we'll see. I'm pretty happy with how this draft went, and obviously we'll be streaming Robbie Anderson against the Jets moving forward. Let's see your matchup this week, Josh.
It was close yesterday, but I'm a bigger favorite now at least.
Yeah, you had a pretty solid performance, obviously, from Brown and Lamb in your flexes. So did you check to see were they already in your flexes during the draft, or did you have to change that?
I think I had to think they were after the draft. I probably shouldn't have left them there though, but that's okay. I don't have any running backs that I would start over them, so
Right. And your running backs, I mean, Naeem Hines is whatever, but uh, Gibson's obviously going to be your RB1 for this league. Um,
for sure.
yeah, I mean, this is an interesting correlation play. Hopefully that stays the same for your case. And then Jamal Williams is the RB2 for here. So this is going to be an interesting scenario. I think that 11 points for Jamal Williams is a little bit high. So we'll see
I agree.
how that goes. His wide receiver core is very good. Um, yeah, Devontae. I think that the only reason that, I mean, your wide receiver core is good too. You just used your flexes in a better way, I think. Um, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams is going to be tough to beat, but both of those guys are in tougher matchups this week rather than later on in the year. Okay. Again, guys, if you have any season long questions or anything related to that, feel free to post it in chat. We'll be covering that for probably the next 25 to 30 minutes or so, and then we'll call this stream a day. I just wanted to give you guys kind of the floor and the opportunity to answer these questions. I know that we covered DFS on these streams Tuesday through Thursday, and we'll be doing that Monday through Thursday moving forward, but wanted to use Friday as a good example of having fun and ending the week talking start and sit questions for fantasy. So we're pumped to be here. If you missed this stream for whatever reason and are watching on YouTube, make sure to just give us a follow and subscribe on YouTube as well at RotoRadar Daily Fantasy Sports. So let's take a look at Sean's team really quick because he's going up against Flash That You. And he has a pretty sizable advantage here. Has Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey, obviously, who I think could be QB1, RB1 this year. And then down the list here, we have Kareem Hunt as the RB2, which I actually think is a very, very solid RB2 option. The wide receivers, Ruggs, Chark, and Marquise Brown. All of these guys are, they've had health concerns in the past, so hopefully they turn it around this year. George Kittle at the tight end, Darrell Henderson against the Bears, Buffalo defense against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, the team is, he keeps drafting Deshaun Watson everywhere. It's crazy. And also Michael Thomas. We'll talk about Michael Thomas later on in the year. I don't think he comes back this season. I don't think he plays for the Saints anymore. I think he is going to get traded for less than what he should be worth probably next March or so. He does have Rondale Moore, though, which I like a lot.
Yeah, I made fun of him for this draft because I think his depth is absolute garbage. But his starting guys are solid, like up and down. Like I like the wide receivers. I like Darrell Henderson. I like his running back core, and I like Allen obviously, and I like Ruggs. So I think he did well with his starting guys. It's just his bench is a whole bunch of garbage outside of Rondale Moore.
Yep. Flash was able to get the handcuff for Alvin Kamara in Tony Jones, who did make the RB2 spot. He has Shepard on the bench, who could be an asset at any time. I'm a little bit lower on Jamar Chase, but most people probably think that he's going to be just fine. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we're leaning. Maybe we're down bad on Jamar Chase right now, and he comes out and he's just fine. But for the time being, I'm staying away from that in this matchup. But I guess he did want somebody to pair up with Joe Burrow, which makes sense. Let's see. Javonte Williams, banking on that coming in. DeAndre Swift is like the one guy that I can't seem to get on board with this year, Josh, in that range of running backs. He's going around like the Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, David Montgomery type of range, and I'm just passing on DeAndre Swift every single time.
Yeah, I have him in a few leagues. I don't know how I feel about it right now. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm not as far as you are on that train. I think I'm still holding firm or trying my best to hold firm on DeAndre Swift right now.
I just don't know how that team moves the ball. That's really my
Yeah,
biggest fear. Flex
DeAndre
spot
Swift,
for
man.
yeah,
That's the only way.
I guess. Rye Guy wants to know flex spot. Do you like Tyler Boyd versus the Vikings or rookie Javonte Williams versus the New York Giants. Give me Tyler Boyd all day, every day, because we just don't know the amount of work Javonte Williams is going to get. I also do respect the run defense from the New York Giants.
For sure.
And then, okay, I think we're all caught up on the questions here. All right, let's look at another team. Oh yeah, this is the league that has like all the guys that Sean breaks cards with. So I'm looking at these names and I'm like, who are these people? But then again, I know who they are. So
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the closest matchup on the board because a lot of these are pretty lopsided already. And
Yeah, talk about the re-up matchup being lopsided, man. He started Gronk yesterday. He had Amari Cooper and he had Leonard Fournette. Like, put up an absolutely insane score with those three.
dude, and during the draft, we gave him so much shit for drafting guys that were like 3 years past their prime, and look what happened.
Look what happened. Now he's going to absolutely dominate this week, just by a Gronk 29 Fanduel point, 29 point performance.
Congrats! It's a big dub. Don't play him next week, please. If you're listening to this, re-up.
I bet he will.
I bet he will. All right, let's look at the closest matchup here. It's C-Core against B. Kent. Lamar Jackson versus Matthew Stafford. Obviously, I think Lamar wins that matchup. Very interesting running back selections. I think I lean with the Cook Montgomery side, obviously. Wide receiver options, I'm in love with the B. Kent side of things here. Calvin Ridley, love. DJ Moore, I absolutely love him this year. But it's hard to debate whose is better, Josh, because he's got Thielen and A.J. Brown. So that's a tough one. Who do you side with on that?
I think I slightly lean with. I don't know, man. This is it's a really tough. Those are two super close matchups, but I will side with Ridley and Moore just a little bit, but not by much.
It's really close, right? I think the main thing that we worry about on the other side is the A.J. Brown scenario, which I think his matchup is really good. It just how do teams defend the Tennessee Titans now? Like that's something we're gonna have to figure out. And do they double one guy or the other guy? And what happens to the other guy? Like I just don't really know how that's gonna go. Do they stack the box with Henry? Like how is that gonna work? Who knows? So A.J. Brown is kind of a question mark for me, although I do think he's in play this week as your wide receiver 2 option.
For sure.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. Obviously, he has Zach Wilson on the bench just in case the injury bug for the Ravens continues. Did pick up Devontae Freeman. I think he drafted him. And then, Trey Sermon on the bench is nice. I like that quite a bit. And then Demarcus Robinson down here for additional depth is good as well. Let's see.
I also like Gainwell on the bench too. I think Gainwell is someone that I'm willing to take a shot on in bigger leagues. This is a guy who comes out of Memphis, and we've seen those Memphis backs kind of take over the league over the past few years. One of them being Antonio Gibson, and there's a few other guys who've come out of Memphis. So I don't know, man. I think that I like Gainwell. I think there's potential. I don't know, take over the starting job, but I think there is potential in PPRs for him to become, that James White, Kenyon Drake type of role where he could get a lot of catches.
He looked really impressive in the preseason. Now the only quarterback throwing to him was Joe Flacco, so I guess we'll see how that goes. But I think that he can make an impact on this team, especially if Miles Sanders doesn't pan out to what he was supposed to be, which will be really sad. Would you trade Zeke for Carson and Pittman?
No. Not even close.
I also think no. Yeah. I think that's not
You're
enough.
selling low on Zeke right now because of his bad performance. So don't sell. wait till he's wait a few weeks in and you'll be just fine with Zeke.
Yeah, you want to pull up the Cowboys schedule for me while we were talking about this?
Yeah, I can do that.
That'll be a direct correlation on to what happens for him.
Yeah, so Cowboys schedule. They face the Chargers next week. Then they face the Eagles and the Panthers and the Giants and the Patriots and the Vikings. I don't know. I said that. There's not many easy matchups.
Yeah, not too many streamer matchups there.
Over the next 6. Then the Broncos, still not a good matchup. Then the Falcons. That's probably your first decent matchup. Then the Chiefs, then the Raiders. That's a great matchup against the Raiders. Then the Saints. That's another spade. Then the Washington football team. Don't play them there. Then the Giants and the Washington football. Dude, Zeke has a terrible
Do
matchup.
they?
Like,
Yeah. What's their strength of schedule? It's got to be at the lowest end of the spectrum.
it has to be, right? Strength of schedule. Ranks as the second easiest in the league.
That
How?
doesn't make
That's
sense.
not that doesn't make it. That's not possible. I don't buy
Maybe
it.
because of the league that they're in or the division they're in. Maybe that has something to do with it. But it's
Maybe.
tough, dude.
Yeah, that's really tough, man. I don't know how you deal with that, but oh, we just got news that Noah Fant and Cortland Sutton will play on Sunday for Denver. Let's go. Some good news finally.
That is good news. I'm excited to see Sutton mainly come back from that injury.
Yeah.
If things
There's some
don't go
good big
well,
toe.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say if things don't go well for Denver for whatever reason, that is a guy that I think could move in the middle of the year to somebody else.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. I'm interested to see what Fant's gonna do because I just traded him away. So either he has a big week and I'm not screwed. I had a big week from AB, so it's fine. But I might be kicking myself a little bit, or he has just a meh week, and I feel good about having Goddard and Ertz on my team now.
Yeah, exactly. I just switched over to the lower buy-in league that we're doing with the fam. Right now for this one, I did get some CD Lamb shares in here for week 1. I also, as much as I talk shit on Jamar Chase, he's currently in this lineup right now, so we'll see if I change that because I don't think I have any other options to use. Terrace Marshall's there. Elijah Moore's there. Never mind, we're good. We're good. But yeah, for this one, I went again. Did not draft the running back until Trey Sermon, and then I got AJ Dillon. So I'm just on this train, Josh, of just drafting wide receivers left and right. I did get Tyreek Hill and DeAndre Hopkins as my 1-2, and I'm pretty proud of that. And then have Lamb as the flex option. So hopefully I can take this thing down. Right now I'm only favored by 6 points, which I'm scared of. So I'm hoping that James Conner cannot find the end zone this weekend.
Yeah, I'm favored in week 1 against Goosty, but it's only because Goosty took Lamar Jackson with like 1.8 or whatever he took Lamar Jackson at. So like
That's true.
1.05. Sorry, that's where Lamar Jackson got taken. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't feel confident about this league, if you couldn't tell already. I have Tanny at quarterback, which I do like Tannehill a lot. I have Eckler and Swift, which I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that. My wide receiver core is rough with Cooks, Judy, T. Higgins, and on the bench I have Gabe Davis and Marquez Callaway. I have tight end is with Kyle Pitts. I don't know how to feel about this league. I thought I've drafted really well, and now that I'm looking back at it, I'm having a little bit of a buyer's remorse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens with Eckler. Chat or Kai or anybody, even Josh, like what's going on with Austin Eckler? Is he playing? Is he practicing today? Because right now that should be roughly almost wrapping up because it is around noon on the West Coast. So we're gonna have that practice report soon, and that honestly would change the landscape of how the Week 1 slate plays out. So I think he's good to go, but it was an injury that came up on like Wednesday or Tuesday, and that's it's terrifying. So we'll see.
My Lakers just traded away Mark Gasol.
Nah, it's okay.
It'll be all right, I think. I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, the main thing for me, obviously, I know you took Kyle Pitts at a decent value spot in this league, so if he can come out like I'm gonna fade him week 1, but if he can come out and do some stuff for this Atlanta team, I think he potentially has a really good season outside of like the weeks that he plays Tampa Bay. But that's it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, we're gonna look at one more matchup here, and then we'll take some questions, and then we'll let you guys have the rest of your afternoon. Again, we're going to be both working on our NFL articles, and we'll make sure to have those up to you by the end of the night tonight. And then Saturday is actually no football content from us. We're going to be hanging out in the Discord, so if you haven't joined Discord yet, It's discord.gg/RotoRadar. You can head to our Twitter and you can find the link there if you need extra clarification on that. But we do talk DFS 24/7 there, as well as do a lot of cool things for the community, giveaway prizes, things like that. We'll be hanging out Saturday night and building a lot of lineups on the air for you guys. Not on Twitch, but in the Discord. Saturday is going to be kind of our off day for NFL, while Josh focuses on UFC and college football, as well as the baseball side of things. So he's got a lot on his plate, and I needed a day off too. So Saturday is my day to just kind of relax, even though I'm really not relaxing. I'm definitely just doing NFL research for Sunday. So
for sure
is what it is.
Before we do talk about this last matchup, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at betonline.ag, the exclusive partners for RotoRadar for the NFL season. BetOnline.ag is more than just an online betting platform. Their focus on the player approach has built their reputation on offering clients nothing but the best, from cutting-edge technology, enticing promotions, and the latest sports betting odds. Arguably their most popular and well-known service is their sportsbook. Here you will find live lines for all major sporting events, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, soccer, politics, table tennis, UFC, and anything else you can probably think of that is bet on regularly. The live betting platform allows you to bet on your favorites quickly and easily and in real time. BetOnline is the absolute best platform for all your sports betting, horse betting, poker, and casino gambling needs, and we are so excited for them to be RotoRadar's exclusive partner for the 2021 NFL season. I'm sure when we're in the Discord tomorrow, we're going to be providing a few picks from betonline.ag. So make sure to definitely tune in for that, because we're going to have a lot of fun in the Discord. You know, it's kind of like, I know last night was the first day of football, but tomorrow's like Christmas Eve almost for the real thing, for getting prepared to sit on the couch for 7 hours and just enjoy Red Zone, which I'm so pumped up for. I'm so excited for.
Yeah, me too. I mean, so we had a little glimpse of football last night, but Saturday beforehand is literally like one of the best DFS days of the year, and that Sunday morning is honestly like my favorite day of the year. I'm just, obviously NFL is my thing, and people have mixed feelings about the opening day or opening night of the NBA, but I don't think there's anything really like the actual opening kickoff day of week one from a DFS perspective at all.
Well, for sure.
I mean, you can make the case that opening day is good for baseball too, but I think this takes.
Yeah, but it's not the same, man. It's not the same. And the thing with opening day baseball is great, but you get all the starters for every team. So like hitting is a pretty big rarity on that slate. Meanwhile, with NFL, we get teams facing off against the Lions, so
exactly.
You definitely get good matchups.
Exactly. All right, guys. Any questions from the chat in regards to your fantasy leagues? Again, moving forward, we're going to be bringing on one member of the RotoRadar Dynasty League to talk each week about what their matchup is, what they experienced the previous week, how their season's going, things like that. So we'll make sure to continue to do that for you guys every single Friday. We wanted a show that just focused strictly on season-long fantasy. I know that a lot of people around the industry are huge fans of just season-long and maybe don't have much of an interest in DFS, whereas I know a lot of the community in our Discord server are diehard DFS players, and maybe they don't play as much season-long. So we wanted to get a little bit of a crossover between both, and just, I wanted to make sure that we covered this guys every single week for you in 1 hour or so on the Friday afternoon. Yeah, Link, yep. I'm going to stay on this screen because I am in charge of the screen. So I'm going to keep this up here as long as I want.
Yep, that is his prerogative.
Yeah, we'll be on here for the next 5 minutes or so, but we know we have a very busy day ahead of us. Josh, you have a Friday MLB podcast to be a part of, and I have to get my article done, even though I know that you do too. So it's going to be a busy week. Friday afternoon does not mean that we get to just sit back and relax. That's your guys' job. But for us, it's still time for us to work. So it's going to be busy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it on the morning after stream. Like Friday, everyone's like, woohoo, happy Friday. But it's never It's never been Happy Friday, and it never will be Happy Friday because Fridays just mean a lot more work is on the table, which
Yeah.
is perfectly fine. I don't want to. Again, I've talked a lot about like the busy schedule this week, but like never will complain about being a pro here because it's an awesome job to have.
Oh, of course not. Just it's funny to think that everybody says that, and you're like, this is literally my Friday night is literally my Sunday night. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want to go to work tomorrow, kind of thing. But you do obviously want to go. But there's just so much to do. But at the end of the day, you're good at what you do, and it shows. So I think that
for
we're gonna have
sure.
an awesome day tomorrow.
Jake Hoos, I agree. We need to skip next week's card and just go to the pay per view. I'm just excited that there's no UFC this week. And I don't think I've said that since I've started providing for UFC, but this is the first week where I am really excited to have a week off and not have to deal with NFL, college football, and UFC all at the same time. Yeah, it's Span versus Anthony Smith for the main event. That does not scream main event whatsoever. Sorry, I'm divulging into a different topic now.
No, it's all
Jared's
good.
gonna get mad at me.
Guys, if you have any other questions related to fantasy season long or just matchups in general, you can feel free to post them in the chat. Otherwise, we are going to disconnect and hang out in Discord for the rest of the afternoon until the MLB podcast goes live at 4 o'clock. Josh, I'm pretty proud of myself. I can feel it a little bit in my throat and in my voice, but I made it through this week, which I'm normally not
Yeah.
talking as much during the week as you guys are. So the fact that I think that you did 4 more shows than I did technically because you did 4 more MLB podcasts, but I'm still pretty proud of myself. I think this is like show number, I don't know, 18 of the week, something like that.
Yeah, this is it's gonna take some getting used to for me having 20 shows in total altogether, and that's not including once we get to UFC. Once we get UFC back, we have the UFC podcast, and also, I mean, weekly wise, I will also have 30 lock for NFL slate. So it'll be a few more, but it's taken some getting used to, and I don't know. I'm still having fun. I still really enjoy the morning after show. I think just because that's kind of been my baby a little bit. I've been extremely excited for that show. I've really loved breaking down NFL DFS here on the strong side, and MLB is MLB, man. It's great to talk with Sean. It's great to give him a bunch of shit, and I can't wait for today's MLB slate. Oh, also, I am providing college football FanDuel lineups. It's a bonus for my college football members, so make sure to reserve Friday contest for that. I think the slate locks at 7:30. I might be wrong about that, but doing the research for that as soon as we get out of here.
Yep. So I think we're going to call this one and end the stream here. A good time to end it. So, guys, again, articles for the NFL DFS slates will be updated on the website by midnight tonight or sometime. I'm sure Josh is going to stay up late and do it. But for me, I'm going to get that done by midnight tonight because I want Saturday and all to myself. So, with that being said, if you do want to watch back to any of the streams that we've had, whether it be the morning after or the StrongSide NFL DFS streams, you just go to youtube.com and then head over to RotoRadar Daily Fantasy Sports. Make sure to like and subscribe there. You can rewatch this entire thing. You can rewatch all of the streams that we've done. They'll be uploaded shortly. I think the majority of them up through Thursday are already on the website. So, yep, just make sure that you're getting all the NFL content that you need. We'll be hanging out in Discord the rest of the weekend. And as always, good afternoon and good skill.